Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fans of Sky Tier. I am the Commander reporting for duty. Tonight we are going to be featuring a monthly clash game between Kalibra and Mikhael. Joining me here in the booth is none other than everyone's favorite punching bag, Ryan, also known as Corito. Good evening.
Hello. I am everyone's favorite punching bag, and I cannot seem to find the video on the YouTube channel, so I'm not sure it's actually working.
All right. Well, it says that it's live.
Wait. I think it's there now. I got it.
Okay.
It's there. False alarm.
Okay. We apologize. This is my first time streaming. I will be both commentating and streaming this game for you tonight. As this is my first time ever actually doing a stream, there may be some slight technical issues, so I apologize for those ahead of time and appreciate your patience as I learn how to do things kind of on the fly. So while we're getting all of that established, I think we're going to discuss what we'll see today from our players. So both players have brought fairly control-heavy decks that I've seen, both Kalibra and Mikhael looking to not necessarily play as aggressively, but looking to slow push or control the game. Of course, we have not yet revealed their victory conditions, so we'll see what adjustments will come. But something that is interesting to note is that Mikhael is bringing that very often left on the sideline outsider, the Silent Ambassador. So that is also in contrast with the Terror of the Night held by Kalibra. So we'll see two outsiders that are not named Dark Vigilante or the OG outsider tonight.
Yes, and I'm going to go flip the victory conditions, which will also be the indication for the players to start.
All right, so let's see what we've got here. Sky Tier Master, Double Kill, and Invasion. All right, well, I can guarantee you we will almost certainly not see Double Kill because neither of these decks are built for killing. Sky Tier Master and Invasion then seem to be our likely choices.
I don't know, Setharu and Shafati and Habrat to an extent can also deal quite a bit of damage. Setharu has 3 Shatterminds, 3 Nightmares Incarnates in that deck, and Habrat has some real spice in it. A card I have not actually seen played yet has 3 copies of Mindfulness.
I saw that as well. I'm actually very interested to see. You know, Mindfulness was one of those cards that we debated about a lot upon seeing its release, thinking, is this really that useful? Well, only if we have a character whose abilities we want to take advantage of. And so with Habrat on there, I may have to rescind my previous opinion. Habrat may, or Setharu may actually be deployed and could potentially deal a lot of damage to one hero.
Yes. Now, 2 heroes is a little bit more difficult, but it's not impossible. I think Invasion and Sky Tier Master are a little more likely, but I would not throw that out of the way, or completely disregard that possibility.
Indeed, and we see we're doing dice instead of a coin flip. A good choice, as many people know, the coin toss in TTS is a little bit, well, not very good. So from the dice roll, it seems that Mikhael, whoops, forgot I'm streaming, I can't do that anymore. Mikhael did win the dice roll, so we'll see what is his choice to bring to the field. He did mention that he would probably bring the Silent Ambassador if there was hunting for power, being able to use the Silent Ambassador's abilities to move heroes around, bring his heroes to kind of choke it off, and then burst it down. The Silent Ambassador, as we can see here, 18 hit points, 1 armor, so not the most durable of outsiders, but it seems that Terror of the Endless Night will be selected.
Yeah, so it looked like Michael won the toss and chose to go first, and then Kalibra chose the Terror.
And so the Terror...
and he's going to start with an Ekrit. Can you still hear me?
I can, yes, sorry. I was focusing on something. I apologize. Yeah, you're good to go. Continue talking about Ekrit.
Just making sure. It got really quiet, and I was worried that we were having technical difficulties.
No, I forgot the problem was when I hold down, because I was holding down Alt to show up the, to show the card up, and then I also have Tab bound as my push to talk key, which I realize is now going to cause the problem. It's going to just cycle me through all of the things to tab on my computer, and that's not going to work at all.
Ah, perfect. That sounds very useful. Yeah. So, I believe I'm not sure because I'm not obviously not looking at your screen, but I believe you are having your camera centered on the board, and you can't see much else other than the actual board. So, I'm going to try and relay any information that we see about cards and discards and any specific things like that, and make sure all that stuff is known, and hopefully not sleep through anything.
Excellent. All right, I'll zoom in just a little bit, so hopefully, we don't need to get out a scientific level microscope in order to see things. And then I'll do my best to not zoom all over the place. I'll have to keep that in mind because I do know that is something that I do whenever I'm commentating, so hopefully we'll be able to not make our viewers ill by me zipping all over the field.
Yeah, I mean, you can always move a little bit, but, don't be like... I'm not going to call anyone out here, Game Slayer.
Wow! And yet he does anyways. Ouch!
No, I actually really enjoy watching his streams, but I know some people have said he moves it around a lot as well. I don't mind it though. But
in the meantime, we see both Astrida and Takali coming out onto the field for Kalibra there. So, as we mentioned, a very control-heavy game. Takali known as probably one of the best anti-pushers, and Astrida as one of the better pushers. So you see that they're going in opposite lanes as well to, potentially force down one of the lanes.
Yes, and Takali being in the front will be able to switch over to the other side too if he wants to just push really hard on one side. Now,
Indeed.
Kalibra is very well known for being an aggro player. He was very famous for the Ixataxi, as well as recently has run a very strong yellow mages deck for a lot of direct damage that way. So I think it's very interesting to see him run a very different kind of deck than what we're used to seeing from him.
Well, one of the important things is, always be willing to experiment, be willing to change, and we can see that, sometimes the game does evolve. Obviously, new cards are being introduced, new strategies are being introduced. So, while he is known for the Ixataxi, it is, interesting, as you mentioned, to see that he is branching out for different strategies. So we'll see. Oh my God, he brought in Kenway. Unbelievable. I take this away. I need to go and excuse me.
I will tell you what I am most excited for this game. If anybody has been paying attention to the Discord chat over the past couple weeks, they will know that I am not a fan of the card Skytear Drain. And I am very happy to share that between the 12 heroes that were brought here, there are zero copies of Skytear Drain. And that makes me happy.
It's true. This will be a Skytear Drain free game, which is actually funny because I was talking with Mikhael before the game, and he was mentioning I have this setup to avoid Skytear Drain, and I'm kind of chuckling to myself thinking, aha, don't worry, there won't be any Skytear Drain.
Yes, and I think that'll also be a great viewing experience too, because I think one of the most entertaining things to watch in Skytear is when you see the players do several, do card interactions and responses and all that stuff, and Skytear Drain just makes both sides have less cards. You see less of those interesting plays that we all know and love.
Indeed, there was, as you mentioned, there was quite a heated debate a couple days ago. I can't remember exactly which day it was, but it was probably close to 1,000 comments spread out over 6 or 7 hours. I remember I was kind of tabbing out. I'd go away for 10, 15 minutes, and I'd come back and I'd have to read 75 new comments on Skytear Drain.
Yeah. It's a very well talked about card, and we made sure that even though it wasn't being played in this game, to still talk about it.
That's right. That shows it's that it's popular. Meanwhile, the final choice then is going to be Shafathi from Mikhail's all-yellow deck. We have Shafathi, very common hero when you need to move around as well. So we're going to see, I think, a lot of mobility coming out of both players here.
And I'm very disappointed that he didn't bring Habra up, because I really wanted to. I'm not saying it would have been correct for him to. It probably is actually incorrect for him to. So I'm not saying he made the wrong choice in any way, but I just really wanted to see mindfulness.
Yeah, that was something I was going to look forward to as well. And given that Hobrod is now off the field, even with Cytheru on the playing field and Shafathi, both of them being mages, I find that it's going to be unlikely to see a double kill. Certainly,
he also didn't bring
possible.
Cytheru.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Kenui, and Shafathi.
He left Cytheru on the bench. Yeah, so there's almost no chance of a double kill in this game.
Yes. Now he could have brought Habara with Egret, and that the mindfulness with Egret would be something interesting, but he didn't do that either.
Yes.
So no mindfulness and no Sky Turn.
All right. Well, thumbs down on the no mindfulness, but thumbs up for the Sky Tier Drain being gone. So I guess net result is it's a win. Who knows?
100% agree with that.
All right, well, looks like we're moving. Looks like Shafathi has been pinged as the opening maneuver here. We see that he has the active player token on him, or the active hero token, fancy new addition. And let's see what the opening is, because normally with yellow, one of the common openings is the move, worship, attack with Ekrit in the dome. But in this case, we're actually going to open with Shafathi instead, so I'm interested to see what he's going to do here.
Yeah, that's especially interesting because with Kalibra having its Lakali, you'd think that you want to try and get Ekrit out there beforehand. But I guess if Lakali goes set the pillar up on one side, he can just send Ekrit to the other on the next activation.
Indeed. So we've gotten the worship token out. So we know, obviously, that Nupton heroes benefit from being within range 3 of illusion tokens. They gain the projected trait, which basically gives them enhanced abilities based on the token that they're then within line sight of. And so we can see here that Shafathi's projection allows people to do predictions.
Yes. The outsider thing icon is not showing up on there. But we don't have hunting for power, so the outsider HP doesn't actually matter. But it is the terror there.
Yep, since the outsider, or since hunting for power is not on the field, the outsider doesn't really need to be attacked and killed, and so therefore the fact that that doesn't work, not a big deal. So we did see a worship move and a lead from Shafathi. So looks like Shafathi is going to work to protect the left lane. From our perspective, obviously that would be Mikhael's right lane.
Yes. And Kalibra's heroes, by the way, we talked about Astrida and Slakali. He also brought Ixotask and my personal favorite hero, Frail.
You're right. We did forget to talk on them. I did ping them on the stream to show that they'd been selected, but we didn't actually talk about them. So Ixotask, known kind of as the taxi service or the transporter, very mobile hero, also the Green Faction's tank, having the 2 armor there. And Freyhill, as we all know, being the person that people use in the Blue Faction to heal people to death.
Yes, and we saw Ashun use Ixotask very effectively in, I believe it was the Summer League European Finals, I believe it was.
Yes,
where
I think that was the
he switched heroes back and forth, and he had a Kali low HP that he just swapped over to the other side to just completely surprise a lane, and did some very interesting maneuvers with Ixotask. So he can be used with heroes other than Akimo.
It's true. That's what I was actually just about to say. Most people only bring Ixotask to chauffeur Akimo within kill range so that he can go and mow somebody down. But no, Ixotask can actually be used, as we saw by Ashun, as you just mentioned, in order to influence control. Because if I remember correctly, Takali also had a lead card verse 3 in her possession at that point, so it very much influenced the lane that she was transported to.
Yes, that is in fact what happened. So he completely switched a lane completely around out of nowhere, and Tlakali was away from all the people that were trying to kill her.
And speaking of Takali, it looks like Kalibra is going to designate that she goes first. Absolutely no surprises here. Takali, very common opener for a green faction or a team that has her on the field at least. You move her within range, you summon a pillar to protect the minions in the lane that she's in, and then you lead from the hand or from the deck as appropriate.
Yep. So Tlakali is going to move up and place a pillar there to protect the minions on that side, as Tlakali tends to do, and then is going to do a lead.
Also, speaking of leading... Oh, go ahead.
Very conventional opening for Flakali. Tried and true.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Don't break don't fix if it ain't broke. Meanwhile, one thing we did forget to touch on was that Shafathi's lead actually was from the deck. We note that the card is in the horizontal position, so we don't actually know what that lead is. We can assume Takali's is most likely going to be a 3. Generally from the hand, it's going to be a 3 if you lead. At worst, usually a 2, unless you want to try to go for the bluff.
Yes, and generally when you lead from him, people assume it is, so it can be a very good bluff, assuming they actually care about that. Sometimes people would just be like, oh, it's a 3, okay, I'll go and tie them then. And then be like, oh, actually, I won. Good to know.
we had that several times in the 2v2 league where after it became very clear that my deck was the flip deck and Game Slayers was the 3 mana cost leading deck, I would go for the lead, and people would assume that I was bluffing. And then, oops, surprise, Commander had a 3 mana card, and now we're under more pressure than we thought we would.
Yep, that works. I was going to check something. Oh, that's what it was.
And now Kenwi is activating. Oh boy, here we go. Can I tell you how excited I am about Kenwi? Viewers know that I have an irrational and unbridled hatred for Kenwi, and I can't even really tell you why.
Kenwi is so annoying because you want to try and get several hits on her, and after the first one, she's just like, haha, you can't hit me anymore. And it's like,
That's probably why.
She annoys me so much. She is one of my least favorite heroes to go up against. Her and Ekrit. And it's weird because they do opposite things. Ekrit, I can't move when I want to, and Kenwi won't stay where I want her to.
It's true. All right, so as we saw there, Kenwi did skirmish into the dome using the projected Shafathi illusion to investigate the top of his deck with the predict. He saw that the shove card came out, decided to discard that, brought her into the dome, and then worshipped in order to bring her own illusion onto the field, which, as you just mentioned, means she can no longer be targeted, and now it looks like she will also lead in the dome, this time from the hand. All right.
Yes. Also, Shafathi led in the lane, not the dome.
Yes!
But yeah, so when she's adjacent to her illusion, she cannot be targeted by attack actions. And when she takes damage, or when any projected hero takes damage, they can move 1 hex. 2 very annoying effects.
And given that this is clearly going to be a control versus control game, those mobility options, I think we'll be able to see whether Mikhael is able to make good use of those as it comes into the later rounds.
Yes. If now a very easy way to prevent that is, just don't attack the yellow heroes.
That's also true.
I don't believe Mikhael has any way to make his heroes lose HP by himself. Those cards like Sacrifice and Strength Over Pain that are fairly common ways of doing that are not actually in yellow. I believe the only way in yellow to do that is Shardstorm, and that is not a card that you really ever see. And
nope, nobody runs Shardstorm.
And it is not in his deck.
Nope, yeah, there is, I'm taking a look here, there is absolutely no way that Mikhael would be able to cause HP loss on his own.
Correct. Now, in terms of leading from deck, I did put together the statistics on the 4 heroes he brought. He has 6 1-mana cards, 15 2-mana cards, and 11 3-mana cards. So,
okay,
a fairly high odds of that being at least a 2.
Yeah, and in that case, if it is a 2, if it's a 3 right now, it's a draw, so nothing happens. If it's a 2, it only advances 1, so reasonably good defense either way from him. Meanwhile, Kalibra is going to move. It looks like it's time for Ixatosk to move into the dome, most likely just going to match Kenwi. Oh, maybe not. I thought he would move in there and match Kenwi's worship, but it looks like we're actually going to switch over to Freyhill or Astrida. No, we're moving it back to Ixatosk. Okay, so what is he doing?
Yep. They are talking about something. I'm not sure what. But while they're figuring that out, while he's thinking, I do want to take this opportunity to mention you were talking about the leads before. on the HUD, you can see the hero icons on the side, and you can actually see little images of cards over there. The ones, and some of them will be faced horizontally, and some of them vertically. The vertical means a lead from deck or hand, and the horizontal means a lead from deck. So you can actually see those directly on the HUD.
Thank you for pointing that out, because I actually missed that update from Tape. Once again, all praise to Tapeworm, our genius TTS mod programmer. Thank you for all the work you've done on the TTS mod. The quality of life updates and changes have been great. So thank you very much again for your hard work.
Yes, and my absolute favorite addition that he made was the flip buttons on the action buttons. I just love being able to just hit that button and get the card flips and not have to deal with all the annoying lag and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's and trying to grab one card off the top of your deck and accidentally grabbing your whole deck, I will not miss that at all.
Yeah,
all right.
That's always been a fun one.
Meanwhile, it looks like we have a worship action to round off Ishitosk's turn. We see that he moved, skirmished, and then worshipped. So now Takali can effectively protect both lanes of minions from whatever may happen here, which is a good idea because at some point Ekrit has to move, and we all know how she likes to go first, but it looks like Akuti will actually be going before her.
Yes, I think Akuti is going to place the illusion next to a minion and attack the pillar, killing the pillar and a minion, and then Ekrit will have a... Actually, no, there's no reason to place an illusion because Ekrit just gonna clear that side anyway. Never mind.
Yep. So Akuti looks like she's going to move. She's going to attack the pillar. The pillar has been targeted there. And down goes the pillar. Of course, pillars will die instantly to the attack. And so then the final action, perhaps a skirmish against Takali. There's not really any point in leading, given that Shafathi has already led, unless you kind of want to just double down on your chances. She may potentially skirmish into the dome or stay in the lane, one or the other.
Yeah, actually, I think it would have made sense for him to place the illusion there because that pillar is gone, so Kali can't see any pillar. So Akuti could have killed a minion and the pillar, and then Ekrit could have cleared both of the minions on the other side.
Yeah, that's, well... Yeah, because yes, you could attack the pillar, and then the after effect of Akuti's illusion then is that when she resolves the attack action, deal one flip damage to an enemy minion adjacent, so you kill the pillar with the attack. Obviously, Takali doesn't protect her own pillars, just the minions, and then you use the Retribution passive from Akuti to knock off the minion.
Yes, and then because Takali can't see any pillar, even she can't protect the minions on the other side, even though those are adjacent to a pillar. But he didn't do that and decided to instead do a lead from deck, so now has 2 leads from deck in that lane.
Okay, interesting choice there. All right, in the meantime, it looks like Freyhill, the Queen of Life, will come onto the field. She's going to move in and attack a minion here. So that minion going to die. There's not really any way to prevent... Oh, and a Grace... Oh, no. The ultimate comes out for a +3 on the flip. Not where you want to burn your +3 flips.
Oh, I forgot to mention, by the way, at the beginning of the game with the mulligans, Kalibra discarded a Presence, and Mikhael discarded a Migraine. Interesting to see the Presence discarded. I would assume Kalibra probably has another one in hand that we might see on turn 2.
Yeah, Presence is one of those cards that very, very essential. If you're playing any heroes that use blue runes, having Presence, especially in the early rounds of the game, giving that +1 control value to the designated hero, very, very, very strong.
Yep. So Freyhill worshipped Ashrita, moved, and attacked the minion. Ekrit is probably going to move into the center and clear the minions on one of the sides. I would assume Michael's right lane, so the left lane from our perspective. Because I don't think he's winning that other side, even if he does clear those minions.
Yeah, also, you don't necessarily want to get too close to Ishitosk. There is the possibility that they just run Ishitosk over and then slow your hero down. Everyone that starts adjacent to Ishitosk gets slowed. And so that could potentially cause some problems because, as we mentioned, we really want to see a lot of mobility being brought in here from Mikhail's heroes, so having that slow might disrupt that. But we'll see what he does here. So, yep, there he goes. Just as you mentioned, move in, summon the illusion, and then we're going to laser down the left lane from our perspective, his right lane.
Yes. It'll be interesting to see if he plays it inside the dome or outside. Okay, he did go out of the dome. Or in the dome. I could have seen outside the dome because there it would be prevent 2 heroes from being moved, while there it's only 1.
Correct.
But he chose inside, which is perfectly valid.
I would imagine probably because he doesn't want to present it as an easy target for either Takali or Freyhill to attack. They would at least have to make at least one other action going into the dome in order to see the token. That would be really the only thing I could think of. Or he just might be lazy and want to move it. Oh, in the meantime, Takali is actually going to react with a stone barricade, bringing up a pillar in the adjacent target hex. Because of Takali's position, she can actually summon a pillar right below the control token and protect at least one of the minions.
Yes. That is something I was thinking about when I was talking about that Akudi play before, and well, could have done that and then Echo could have cleared on the other side. So, but the stone barricade was the one way that could have gone very wrong, and he did in fact have it.
Alright, so a +1 on the flip, so that's going to give a total of 3 damage from Ekarit's attack. Takali will very happily eat that up. Down to 13 hit points. 1 minion dies, 1 minion lives. And that concludes her turn.
Now, I could see Estrada going all the way over to his left lane here.
Well, Estrada just pinged somewhere in the right lane from our perspective, so let's see what exactly it is. Typically, Estrada's opening play is the move, attack, and lead. With Ishitosk not having led, that seems to still be very valid. There goes the minion, so the minion's going to die. She'll sacrifice 2 HP to spawn another minion. Very, very standard blue opening play as well. There it is. And just like that, with a lead, that well, even actually, you don't even really need to lead necessarily.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
right now.
He's going from hand too. That is very interesting. I would have just gone with a worship, honestly.
Yeah, that's. I mean, all 4 heroes have gone from his side. You're guaranteed to win the lane, and with a 5-1 victory in that lane, that control token is already going to be pressed against the tower. So the lead here kind of seems like a waste.
I mean, so he might be trying to play around a time warp from Kenway.
That's true. Okay, that's fair. I did not consider a time warp.
But even still, I don't, especially with that bringing him down to 3 cards in hand, I think he should have led from deck. If he was trying to play around time warp, I don't think there was any reason to lead from hand there.
Well, nevertheless, there was no time warp played, so as we saw there, overwhelming victory on Control Zone 1. That control token is now pressed against the tower, which means that invasion becomes a possibility starting next round. Invasion requires both control tokens to be adjacent to either the towers or the nexus by the end of the turn. Obviously only good from round 2 on, but with one control zone already taken care of, we can see, half the battle is already won.
Yes. So that, by the way, that lead was a chasm from hand. It'll be interesting to see how much he, if he needs that, or if he wishes he had it later. And then the lead from Tlakali on his left lane was a sinkhole. From Michael, Akudi and Shafathi both led from deck, getting a presence and Shafati's ultimate.
So, actually, was worthwhile that Akudi did end up leading. You can debate whether or not it was good getting rid of the ultimate there, but it does bump the lead-up value by 1 there, so it does force a draw in that lane as opposed to a win by 1. And, of course, then we resolve the dome here. We see that only Mikhael had heroes in there, so he gets that uncontested. And so now it's time for the Terror of the Endless Night to rain havoc. Terror must begin in a cover hex, but is then free to rampage and cause all sorts of unfortunate side effects, including slow and disarm to enemy heroes, or potentially applying a frenzy to an ally.
I am going to dispute something you said when you
Okay.
said that lead was good by Akuti. I think the worship play would have been better because it would have killed a minion instead, and so it would have had this. It would have contributed to that difference in control by that same amount as one, except for one that flashback would still be in the deck.
Okay, that's fair.
And all two, now in that situation, Kalibra would have one fewer minion than he does now.
That's okay. Both valid points. I will actually agree with your assessment then.
Of course, he didn't know what the leads were. It's very possible that it should have fought the Headler with a 1, in which case, the 3 would have been better. So,
Indeed. Okay,
you never really know.
It's true. All right, so meanwhile, it looks like the Terror's first action was to attack and destroy that pillar, not having any more of Takali's pillar protecting nonsense, at least until she can get another pillar down there. Let's see what else we have. So the Terror right now is adjacent to 2 people here, and as we can see, Nightmarish Roar would be able to hit 2 heroes there. You could push them and apply slow.
Yeah, he might choose to disarm one of them first, or skirmish and hit one of them first. I don't know.
Well, the skirmish attack could potentially be useful if he wants to get next to, say, Ekrit in order to use a frenzy and give her, or excuse me, use Bloodlust to give her frenzy. But yeah, where he's positioned right now, and he's already used the attack on the pillar, so I'm interested to see what he does for the other 2 actions.
I feel like, based on that placement right there, Nightmarish Roar is fairly obvious. If he had placed it on the other side, I think something like the what is that one called? The Dreadful Majesty to move Ashrita further away from the control tokens and disarm, and then giving her slow would have been a lot more likely. But that is not something that we're going to see here. But he flipped I think he did a skirmish.
Yes, skirmish. We can see that they did use the skirmish action, so interesting. He did move himself adjacent, which means there goes the frenzy onto Ekrit. So the final action was the Bloodlust special ability in order to apply frenzy to the target adjacent friendly hero.
That is kind of surprising to me. I really thought that Nightmarish Roar was going to be used.
That makes 2 of us. Yeah. All right. Well, nevertheless, that takes care of round 1, and on to round 2 we go. Oh, and of course, with the control of the dome, Sky Tier Master, 1 point to Mikhael, needs 3 in order to win the game from that condition.
Yep, and I didn't get a chance to mention it before, but Kanui led with a 3 from hand, which was a Soul Scream.
Nobody cares about Kenway.
People care about Soul Scream, though.
That is fair. Soul Scream is an awesome card. That is fair. Soul Scream is an awesome card. Very good at changing the game. Being able to just AoE down minions from a range or just cause a lot of damage. So, okay, meanwhile, we've got action right off the bat here. We've got a discard from Doom, actually.
Yes.
That was not
hand
action.
size.
Yep.
Yes.
I got ahead of myself.
Yeah. Doom is an interesting card, though. Something that is very useful against Frail. So it'll be interesting if that comes into play later. Obviously, it would need to either be a different Doom or he would need to shuffle and get that one again. But
yep, and if we take a look at the decks, which of course we can do because we are the almighty, all-knowing casters, we see that Freyhill is indeed loaded out with 3 copies of both Nourish and Sacrifice. So healing is certainly something that could be cut off.
yes, and I feel like having 3 copies of Nourish, 3 copies of Sacrifice in a Frail deck is a fairly common build for Frail.
Yes, yeah, usually you see 3 Nourishes, 3 Sacrifices, and then some people will do Ice Wall or Snowblind, something in order to kind of work as a protector card or some sort of a utility card.
Yes, the list I was using in the qualifiers and had been using for a very long time was 1 Sinkhole, 3 Nourish, 3 Sacrifice.
Okay,
I did make a few small changes, minor changes to my deck the other day, so my Frail deck is now a little bit different, but I am not going to share that as I'm playing my Clash game right after this, and my opponent may or may not be listening, and I don't want to.
Secrets are no fun. All right. Meanwhile,
I can't tell them what's in my deck.
All right, that's fair. That's fine. All right, well, meanwhile, we've got your wish there. As you can see, Akuti has brought her illusion onto the field. And of course, Akuti's illusion, probably one of the stronger ones for defensive purposes. Resonant Light allows all projected heroes to get +1 armor. In a game where damage is already kind of low, that +1 armor is going to significantly reduce any chances of any hero kills. Meanwhile, the ability then, we talked about this a little bit earlier. Because Akuti went first, she's able to attack a minion without needing to worry about a Takali pillar. And then, of course, once the attack resolves, she uses her own passive ability, able to target one minion that is adjacent to her illusion.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about Ekrit having Frenzy. What do you think the reasoning for Ekrit having Frenzy is? Because I was just thinking about that, and I'm thinking he could use that to push one hero twice, and so it can basically push a hero out of line of control token a lot more easily than just being able to push one.
Right, so I'm imagining that she will probably keep that to force somebody out of the dome, would be my expectation. You've already got one Sky Tier Master token, might as well try to go for 2 or 3.
That makes sense, and he can keep doing that every turn to just make it very difficult. But we did just see a Gathering Storm by Akuti to draw 2 cards, followed by a lead from hand.
Yep, Gathering Storm, very useful to replenish the hands. Again, as I mentioned, Mikhael said he brought Gathering Storm in order to deal with Sky Tier Drain. Well, with no Sky Tier Drains to worry about, Gathering Storm becomes even more useful. You can get through your deck and also get those high-value lead cards as well.
And I recommend that people use Gathering Storm over Sky Tier Drain. It's the same card difference. Instead of your opponent losing 2, you gain 2, except it's just a lot more fun to play. So I approve of him bringing Gathering Storm.
The Kurito thumbs up has been awarded for this match. Sorry, Kalibra.
Sky Tier Drain is a stupid card. Thank you, Kalibra, for not running it.
and the fun part about it is, like, some cards will change in priority value.
No. There's nothing fun about it.
No. I'm saying about the game in general. I agree with you on that statement.
Okay.
no, I'm saying the fun thing about this game is that some cards will change in priority in the 2v2 versus the 1v1. Sky Tier Drain is just a card that is still good regardless. Like, in 2v2, you can only have 1 copy of a card in your decks per player, but you can only draw half the cards at the beginning and during the normal draw cycles, which means that Sky Tier Drain is still just as unfortunate to have to play against in the 2v2 league as it is the 1v1 league.
I feel like it's even better there because
I agree.
It's a lot more likely that somebody has 2 or 3 cards in hand, so you can just get rid of their hand.
We've had that before where Game Slayer is holding some nice 3 mana cards and then boom, his hand gets completely destroyed. And we're in like round 3 or 4 when we could actually play them as opposed to simply use them as leads.
Yep. Or you of course it's also possible because, you know, in 2v2 you can only have 1 copy per deck, while in normal, in a regular 1v1 game, you can have 3 copies. So in a normal 1v1 game, it's very possible that you can have, within the span of 2 activations, have 3 Sky Tier Drains to cast against you. And
wow, that would be so unfortunate. That would be so unfortunate for whoever that would happen to.
Yeah, it really would, wouldn't it? Definitely not speaking from experience here.
Always anecdotally. Alright, meanwhile, Ishitask finally going to make some moves here. It looked like he wanted to place a pillar, but then thought better of it. So first he's going to move, then he's going to worship to place a pillar down there instead, and then lead from the deck. So he's fully committing to ensure that Ishitask can control this zone here. So now the question is, do we fight for control of the dome, or do we go for the invasion? I still think that because Ekrit has the Frenzy, fighting for the dome is smarter. You've managed to neutralize Control Zone 2, so it's not really going anywhere. It would take at least 2 turns before your opponent can start battering ram on your tower. There's no chance that they're going to be able to take over Control Zone 1 with the current setup. I think that in this situation, playing for the dome is the play here from both players, actually.
I think Kalibra is going to have a lot of difficulty with the dome. I think he needs to find a way to get invasion, but that's not going to be an easy task.
Yeah, I'm actually going to withdraw what I just said because I realized that half of what I was saying was coming from Kalibra's perspective and half of it was coming from Mikhail's perspective, and I didn't have a good way to wrap that up, so I'm just going to say that right now, that half of the analysis was split for the player. Kalibra should probably play for invasion. Meanwhile, Mikhael should focus on the dome.
Yeah, but how Kalibra goes about getting control of lane 2 is no simple task.
I think it definitely needs to involve Astrida's ability to kill minions and spawn minions. There's really little else that he has. Like, he doesn't have, Call of the Pact or anything of that nature that would allow for a lot of minions to just show up. So I think that using Astrida's worshipped ability is going to be essential in order to get Control Zone 2 under control.
Right, but for Astrida to get over there, she would need to be in the hex that Frail is currently in, so Frail will need to move. And then also that any minion that Astrida is going to spawn is going to have to be right on the control token, which is conveniently in a very convenient spot for that Ekrit to just wipe it out with the other minion.
That's also true.
So I feel like Kalibra would need to get a pillar down and move Frail out of the way before Astrida can even go over there.
Yep, so Astrida will probably activate last. Meanwhile, Kenwei has been on the move. Kenwei is not going to allow total domination of Control Zone 1 without a fight. She's going to move over, take out a minion, and then I assume potentially lead as well, in order to try and contest Ishitosk from just completely demolishing the tower. No lead.
Yeah, we could see a Shafathi skirmish and swap over there.
That is true.
I don't know if we will. Also, that is a very interesting play. Oh, that was Stone Barricade.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, can we attack the minion or the pillar?
She attacked the minion. She's standing on top of the pillar.
Okay, so that Stone Barricade protected the minion there.
Yes. Okay, meanwhile, Takali... go ahead.
I am actually going to take back what I said before about Kalibra trying to push for invasion. I think he should push for Nexus.
Yeah, actually, reassessing this as well, that is kind of one of the things that sometimes you forget, myself included, but there is actually another way to win the game besides the 3 cards that you see at the top of your screen, and that is just to outright destroy the Nexus. Given that Control Zone 2 hasn't actually moved, it might be better just to, put 1 or 2 heroes there to stabilize Lane 2, and then just focus on completely bashing down Lane 1 and blow up the Nexus for Nexus Destruction victory.
Yes, that is true. The thing that might make it a little challenging, though, is the fact that Shafathi can get over there pretty easily, and Frail and Tlakali cannot.
Indeed. So another question then potentially is they could use Astrida to attack Shafathi's illusion. That would require him to use a little bit more of action economy to... Oh, never mind. He could just move, and then he would still be within 3 based on where the control token is. So,
it would need a move and a skirmish, but yes.
Would it? I think you can get within... Oh, no, that's 4. Never mind. I can't count. So, yeah. So that would actually benefit, because that would require 2 actions as opposed to 1 for Shafathi to have any influence on the control token.
Yeah, I still feel like it might be better for Astrida to just attack and spawn a minion, though.
I agree, too, personally. But always one of the biggest things in this game is considering your options, right? Like there's a number of different plays to make, and sometimes one play versus another might be, they're about equal in value, but then there's some plays that are just absolutely the wrong play.
Yep, and I think I think Astrida should actually stay in that lane and put pressure there, and then force Shafathi to have to choose between the 2 lanes, and then he can push for invasion or the Nexus, depending on which side Shafathi is not on. And the fact that Kenwei does not have a lead is going to probably drag Shafathi over to that side.
Well, now she does.
Oh.
Oh, and she also has presence.
Yeah, presence and then a lead from deck. So probably a 3.
Yeah. So we have to assume Kenwi now has a value of 5, 1 for herself, 1 for the presence, and presumably a 3 given that he predicted and then led from deck. So that's going to give a total value here of 7 versus 6 plus whatever Ishitosk is, given that it's from the hand, most likely a 3 as well. So as of right now, unless Estrida comes in and shoots the minions, the towers will not take damage. That being said, Estrida is moving in, so we'll see if she worships before attacking. I would assume so. Yep, there's the worship, and then the last action will be the attack.
Yep, which is going to kill a minion, spawn a minion, and also she's going to add 1 value just by being there. So that's a difference of 3. So Mikhael has 6 in that lane, while Kalibra has 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10.
Okay, so that tower is going to survive with 1 hit point, assuming that nobody else comes in.
2, because the minion will eat 1.
Oh, you're right. Never mind. I'm sorry. There's right. Yeah, I did not see that last minion over there.
Now, if he has... Let me go check what's in his deck, but if he has like a Nightmares Incarnate or something, or a Shield Slam or something like that, he could take out that last minion.
Let's see. I see nothing of the kind out of Kalibra's deck. I see Safeguards, I see Bewitch, Present. There is a Presence.
Safeguards, the interesting card. Ooh, yeah. Underground Tunnels.
Ooh, yeah, Underground Tunnels from Ishitosk. Being able to target friendly adjacent minions and then place it next to another friendly minion on the battlefield. So Kalibra may just sacrifice Control Zone 2 and send it over to help augment Lane 1.
That being said, that other minion would still be able to eat up the 1 damage, so it would not be enough at that point.
Right.
So that 1 Underground Tunnels wouldn't be enough, but 2 would.
And he's got 3 in the deck.
That would be a really cool play. Also, I mean, I guess the heroes have already went, so we can't see it, but there is 1 copy of Bewitch in Estrida and 1 copy of Bewitch in Slakali.
Yes.
But we did not see the Bewitch at all, so probably not happening.
Yeah, unlike Underground Tunnels, Bewitch is an action card, which means only the active hero can play it. So unless you have some very strange compulsion to... No, it doesn't even matter. Freyhill can't even get over there with a move and a skirmish. So very unlikely to see Bewitch this turn. But again, as you mentioned, we could potentially see a chain of Underground Tunnels between them. Tilakali and Freyhill do have 3 mana, so it is possible that we could see multiple Underground Tunnels to... Well, actually, there's only 1 minion to send over at this point, so we could only see 1.
I was just about to say that.
Never mind.
Unless we see like a Bewitch from Slakali to get 1, and then Freyhill using Underground Tunnels to move 2.
Well, Takali's already used 1 mana, so we would have to see the Bewitch out of Freyhill, and then... Well, yeah, so there's no way to do that. Darn it!
Except that he does have a single copy of Mind Palace in Ishitosk.
Oh my god, here comes the Mind Palace.
Now, I should mention that the top card of Kalibra's discard is an Underground Tunnels, which means that there are only 2 left in the deck.
That is highly unfortunate.
I don't think we're seeing that.
But it would be so cool! Oh well, sometimes you can't get what you want.
Now, what's important here is Kalibra does have the ability, from Michael's perspective, if Kalibra does have a Shield Slam or Nightmares Incarnate, which we know he doesn't, but Michael doesn't know it's in his deck, that would be enough to push the tower. So, does Shafathi want to swap over to that side to play it safe in case he has one of those cards?
I would argue yes. Noting that Akuti has led from the hand, plus the fact that there are 3 minions still on the field, very unlikely scenario where lane 2 does not move against Kalibra, that Mikhael wins lane 2. So in that case, I think you can move Shafathi over there to help shore up the defense line without worrying too much about anything going on in lane 2.
Yes, I would agree with that. Which then is going to mean that Frail and Slakali are only going to have to out-control the one Akuti on that side.
Yes.
Of course, he's also down on minions, and Ekrit can contribute over there from the dome, but, you know.
Now, here's where we get into the question of movement earlier. Okay, never mind, that wouldn't work. I was going to say that Ekrit could potentially use her illusion to attack Akuti twice, but I think that... Oh, no, wait a minute, it is range 4, yeah. So if she positions herself right next to Freyhill, she could attack through her illusion and bump Akuti 2 and knock her out of range of Control Zone 2.
So there's one major flaw with this, and that's the fact that Ekrit and Akuti are owned by the same player.
Sometimes friendly fire comes into play. Sometimes the caster gets a case of the dumb. Both of these things have occurred in the same game, especially when I'm on the mic. It was a great idea, except for the part that it wouldn't work out. Please ignore what I just said over the last 30 seconds while I die in shame.
It's always a pleasure to commentate with you.
I don't understand why people like listening to me. I hate myself. All right, moving on.
I mean, people love listening to people make fools of themselves.
That is fair. Everyone likes to watch a car crash.
And Kalibra is doing a lot of thinking right now. Also, he just attacked. I believe he just attacked through the illusion, and Slakali took some damage on that. And the flip for that attack was Kenui's ultimate, so Slakali is now down to 9.
No, she took that earlier, I believe. She was originally at 13 and took 4 in a previous round. So, there goes the minion's gonna die.
He was thinking about it. That's
Correct,
what was happening. Yeah. He was thinking about whether or not to let it die, and he decided to let it die because he didn't want to take 5 and drop down to 4.
Right, because in that case, then, Shafathi could move in and kill, because unlike Ekrit and Akuti, Shafathi and Takali are, in fact, on opposite teams.
Ooh, okay. Well, now Ekrit moved out of the dome.
Aha! Okay.
Now, what's interesting about this play is, yes, this is going to clear one minion and maybe another one, depending on if my Kalibra chooses to protect one with that pillar there, which is hiding right under Kenui.
Yep.
Ekrit is currently not within line of sight of any control token.
That is true. She is, in fact, 4 spaces away, and with this final attack, that will be the entirety of her AP. She has attacked, she has moved,
I'm going to just do something here for the stream real quick. I'm just going to make this pillar a little bigger so it can be seen more easily on the stream.
Perfect. There we go. Do you realize you have now given Kenui a throne to sit on? Why would you do that? Unbelievable. People these days...
It's a little pedestal.
The only pedestal she needs to be put on is one that leads to an incinerator. All right, moving on with our lives. Kalibra is continuing to think. So, I really do have to sit down.
I feel like your hatred for Kenui is possibly even more than my hatred for Skytear Drain.
What's funny is, what I mentioned this at the beginning of this game, I actually don't understand why I hate her. Like, it's like you meet some people and you just don't get along with them, or some people you meet and you immediately become BFFs. Like, with Kenui, I just didn't like her from the get-go. Meanwhile, Freyhill is going to play Sacrifice. Very good, because this is now going to allow Kenui to... allow Takali to absorb some more HP damage for the minions, protect those minions. So Takali will heal up 4, Freyhill will go down 2, and this will make it a little bit safer so that Takali doesn't need to worry about getting assassinated by Shafathi.
Yep, and that was Akuti's ultimate flip, so Takali took 5 on that. So that sacrifice was quite nice.
Yes, because otherwise Takali would have been down to 4 hit points, which would have been easy prey for Shafathi kill. Now, as it stands, Shafathi potentially still could kill with a good flip on a move, or on an attack and a skirmish, given that he is a mage. It is very unlikely. given that most of the +3s have been burned, but still a possible if Mikhael feels like he wants to go for a gamble.
Now, because Michael activated Ekrit with and got rid of the frenzy, and moved Ekrit out of the dome, Michael only has one hero left to activate, and Kalibra has 2, and there's nobody in the dome. So Kalibra could just go for the dome now.
Indeed, that's another play. So, we talked about the strategies for winning. Kalibra might want to focus on either invasion or nexus destruction, and Michael focus on the dome play. Well, now with this play, the tables may have turned. And again, as we've seen, Terror of the Endless Night able to bestow that frenzy passive would be very useful on Shafathi, being that giving a mage frenzy always a good time.
Yeah, I was not a fan of that play by Michael. I feel like at least just keeping Ekrit in there as a threat just makes that dome so hard for Kalibra to go for. So even if he wasn't going to keep Ekrit in the dome, saving Ekrit for later in the round, I think would have been smart. But he probably doesn't know where he wants Shafathi yet, so he did the play he knew he was going to make, which is perfectly understandable.
So the other thing to consider too, then, based on what you just said, if you actually just move Ekrit and her, if you move Ekrit one closer so that she would be to the right of the Kenwi illusion, and then put her illusion there as well, Ekrit's illusion there, you could still hit 2 minions. Now, again, of course, Takali would be able to protect the one from the pillar, but you would still get the same total effect of being able to target 2 minions while having Ekrit at least have a presence at a control point.
Yep, I was just thinking that before you said it, and I think that really would have been I think that really would have been the play there if you were not just waiting to use Ekrit. And actually, I think he should have waited one more activation to use Ekrit and then done that afterward.
Well, choices have been made and plays have been resolved. So meanwhile, Freyhill now going to activate. So let's see what Freyhill does. Most likely, I would assume attack a minion here. Yep, there's the target minion. And then possibly she'll move into the dome and begin to contest that. All right, see what happens.
I'm going to expect a skirmish into the dome where she hits a cutie. Oh, maybe just moves.
Okay, so she's moving.
I think a skirmish would have made more sense, but not a real huge difference. And then a lead.
Okay, there we go.
From deck.
So now the question is, with one activation to go, do you bring Shafathi into the dome knowing that Freyhill has led? My answer, from my perspective, would be no, because in this situation, Takali still has to go. You can bring Takali in and guarantee a victory. So the question to me now is, would Shafathi be better served in lane 2 or in lane 1? I don't think Shafathi goes into the dome here, unless a time warp could be had, but I don't think Mikhael is running any time warps. Oh no, he does have 2 time warps actually, so it is possible that time warp could still come out. And Akuti is adjacent to the dome, so Akuti could... Oh no, Akuti's used all of her mana this turn, so she can't time warp.
Ekrit has mana up, so Ekrit could time warp back into the dome, in which case that placement there would make a lot of sense.
Yes, that is a good point. Yes, Ekrit could bring herself into the dome. So we'll see then. So Shafathi would have to lead with a 3, otherwise that would be too risky to chance. But we'll see what happens. He could also potentially, as I mentioned, set up for the potential assassination on Takali with 8 hit points. I don't think that Shafathi would kill her, but nevertheless could still do a significant amount of damage to her.
Yeah. Now, I still, even if he has a time where we can go back in and that's a cool play, but if he had gone into the hex we were talking about before, he could have, saved the card and the mana. So
yes,
still not correct. I mean, being in that hex, he can kind of time warp into either the lane or into the dome and not show his hand one way or the other. But I think he could have been in the dome and then, if he wanted to, chosen to use the time warp to go into the lane. And this, of course, assumes he even has a time warp. He does have the flux, so we could always use something like a chasm. In which
That's
case...
true.
Well, No,
Okay.
Chasm doesn't do anything there. Never mind.
All right, so Shafathi is coming into the dome. So in this case, the idea of a time warp play does become very likely. Although using the illusion ability is going to swap him into lane 1, so that decreases the likelihood of a time warp ability. So it looks like he is now going to move on top of the control zone. Okay. And here comes the Flex play. So Flex has been activated, and we are going to use the Soul Scream. Okay, so now that movement makes sense. Positioning him there does allow Soul Scream to target and destroy 3 of Kalibra's minions.
Well, Takali can protect... Oh! Safeguard from Ixatas. That's a card you don't see used very often, but that is a great use for a Safeguard.
Yes, because now with Safeguard coming out, that protects 2 of them, and Takali can... oh, wait a minute. No, that's only 2... Oh, no. When a friendly minion would lose...
Yep.
Yeah, so this could potentially be a case where if you want to sacrifice Takali's hit points, you could protect all 3 of those minions. And given that Shafathi is now nowhere close to her, I think that it would be a good idea to sacrifice the HP and protect that minion.
Unless, of course, he flips yet another +3, in which case Takali probably doesn't want to go down to 1.
That's fair.
But the flip was a 0, so Takali is going to take it and drop down to 4.
All right, so Takali, bleeding fairly heavily, but still standing. Elton John would be proud.
Now with Shafathi going over there, that movement by Ekrit makes even less sense.
Yeah, because so now we've got a lead. Okay, well we've got a lead out of the hand, so I guess he's trying to stave off the invasion here, and
but Ekrit isn't contributing to that at all.
So Ekrit being in the dome wouldn't matter here, I guess, because Freyhill had led from the hand, and with the play that she did, she wouldn't have been able to lead. So I guess the idea is get her out of the dome, because she won't have any influence anyways. But
yeah. But he could have he could have used Ekrit to mess with stuff in the dome. He could have done that play with Shafathi before it, like before Ekrit at least, and let things develop more, and then push people around with Ekrit.
It's true.
He could have pushed Astrida and Ixatas, or I guess he couldn't have pushed either of them out of range, but I don't know.
Well, looks like we're going to have a worship action here. So Kalibra going to heal Takali slightly. Takali is allowed to sacrifice a pillar, heal herself up a little bit. She does get 2 hit points back, 1 plus the flip. And the flip was indeed a +1 from the Mind Palace. Repositioning that token because she, Kalibra as the player realizes that the wave is going to push against him, and so setting up the pillar in order to protect his minions in round 3.
Yeah, but the fact that Kalibra is winning the dome is huge. I'm still really confused by some of Michael's plays this round. I feel like his path to winning was he just needed to
play the dome.
So the thing is, as Kalibra wasn't going to get invasion round 2, and because it triggers at the end of the round, if he wins the dome round 2 and round 3, he wins before invasion goes off.
Correct.
So, as long as he didn't lose to invasion on turn 2, or didn't lose to Nexus on turn 3, he just needed to sit in the dome. So I think he should have just kept sitting in the dome and used Ekrit to push people out, and keep giving Ekrit frenzy so he can push people twice and really push them out. But he didn't do that.
All right. Meanwhile, we've got some leads revealed. Both Ishatosk and Shafathi's leads were 3. And so Kenwi and Astrida are both there as well. So in that case, the heroes all... actually, I forgot. Kenwi did have a presence there, so she's actually worth 1 more. But we still see that there are 2 damage dealt to the towers. Towers are down to 3 hit points. So a little bit of damage done. Meanwhile, Akuti leading with a 3, Takali with a 1 there. There's another Underground Tunnels card that we saw. So that's going to bring that control zone flat up against the... Oh, why are we pinging this?
I think he was just making sure that Michael was aware that he led with a 1.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, are we trying to activate it? I thought that was played as a lead. All right, so yeah, so Control Zone 2 now pressed against his tower. But again, as we mentioned, that pillar has been placed in preparation for this Control Zone shift, so that in the round 3, Takali is in position in order to protect the minions. However, of course, there is something that we need to see, and that's the fact that that Akuti illusion is still right there, which means Akuti's illusion Akuti can attack the pillar, destroy the pillar, and then still use the remaining resolve action on the minion. Or alternatively, Akuti can attack a minion, see if Takali wants to... Oh my goodness. I hate minion setups so much. The minions do not cooperate at all.
Well, that was entertaining to watch. I hope everyone else enjoyed that as much as I did. Probably
We're
not.
trying to do serious analysis, and they're going down like dominoes. Come on, people.
Oh my god, that was entertaining. One thing I also to mention, so the leads from deck by Michael were a Chasm and Windblast, and Akuti led with a Soul Scream from hand.
Yes.
Kalibra led with a Thousandth Ritual by Ixatask. Underground Tunnels was the lead from deck from Tlakali, and the lead from hand was a From Below by Frail in the Dome.
Indeed. So now, as we mentioned, Kalibra does gain control of the Outsider in round 2. 1 point on the Sky Tier Master for him as well. It's 1-1. So now let's see what happens. The bear has to appear in the cover hex, and it looks like the bear might be going after Akuti, or potentially going to move in and support Freyhill. We'll see what he does.
Now, Michael has 3 cards left in his deck, and the only ultimate we have not seen from him is Ekrid's ultimate, Eye of the Storm.
And coming up on round 3, that could be very good. All right, so the first thing we see is that Akuti has been disarmed and has been dragged all the way back to be adjacent to the Nexus. Very good. What that's going to do is guarantee that she's not going to be influencing anything in lane 2 next round. She has also been slowed, as you can see. And it looks like the final one was a... I actually have no idea what the final action was. Regardless, it looks like...
I think it was maybe an attack?
I don't know, because they started discarding everything. Well...
We saw Dreadful We know we saw Dreadful Majesty and Nightmare Shore.
Yes.
Akudi's still at 16, I think, so it wasn't an attack.
I have no idea what that case... Well, in any case... Okay, there's the flip, so... Was a little bit delayed. So Akuti does take a couple points of damage there, down to 12 hit points. So poor Akuti getting ganged up on. Again, also being out of range of her illusion means that she does not get the +1 armor bonus for being projected. So Akuti this round is only going to be able to influence the Dome and Control Zone 1. Control Zone 2... all the way down here. Now, of course, I said that she can't influence that control zone. Of course, she can still use her passive ability, so she may just attack something to proc the illusion ability and target one of the minions, but she won't be
which will make the Kali take +1 a card damage. Likely. Because Tlakali can protect the minions over there.
Yep. All right, we're on to round 3. Let's see what happens.
Yes, we are. And that's 1 point on Sky Tier Master for each of them. Now, Kalibra led with 2 ultimates that turn, and we saw the Glacial Rebirth earlier. The one ultimate we haven't seen from Kalibra is everyone's favorite ultimate, Song of the Siren.
Oh, baby. And Kalibra also has 11 cards left in his deck. Hasn't been going through them nearly as fast as Michael has. As you mentioned, Michael is down to the last bits of his deck, about ready to flip that deck over and reshuffle. So we can only hope to see Song of the Siren. Very, very powerful card. It is, as you mentioned, Astrida's ultimate that instantly exhausts the target hero. And in this case, if you're able to exhaust something like Shafathi or Kenwi before they're able to go ahead and do their thing, could be very useful during this round.
Or Ekrit. However, Ekrit has Eye of the Storm, which is a very good response to that.
Yes. That's why I omitted mentioning her, because I have had one too many cases where I would try to target Ekrit on round 3, and of course the opponent has Eye of the Storm, and oops, she can't be targeted anymore.
Yes. So for people who don't know, Eye of the Storm does a couple different things, but one of the effects of the card does say Ekrit cannot be targeted.
And then she just drops a giant AoE down on top of her illusion, which in this situation actually would be beneficial. She would end up catching 2 minions in the illusion AoE blast, so overall that would definitely generate very good value.
Yeah. Fun fact though, it does not hit the hex the illusion is in itself, it hits everything around it. It's like a little bit of a donut.
And now I'm hungry. So I was watching a video yesterday from Gordon Ramsay. I went down a rabbit hole, and he started making donuts. Like, it started off, I was watching a beef Wellington, and then I progressed to huevos rancheros, some kind of lobster bisque, and all these other things. There were donuts, and he makes it look very easy. So I'm fairly certain tomorrow afternoon, when I get a little bit of time, I'm now going to make donuts, thanks to both of you.
Well, I'm happy to help.
Question mark? That's one of those cases where you put the question mark in parentheses. You're not sure if you're helping? Maybe?
Yes.
Meanwhile,
I don't know if I'm helping or not.
You could be. Who knows? You're helping someone. You're either helping me or the food industry, because I have to buy stuff to make the donuts. Meanwhile, we have a lot of thinking going on here.
I'm helping the economy.
There it is. All right. Ryan, man of the people, trying to do his best to get America back on their feet and recovering from the pandemic.
Yes, and for anyone listening, if anyone wants donuts, feel free to go buy some.
I'm speechless.
Help your economies too, even if you're not in America.
That's true. Donuts are not just an American thing. The difference, someone once told me, since we have some time while they're thinking, someone was mentioning the problem is they see everyone enjoys a good pastry. The problem is that Americans enjoy a good dozen pastries. And that's why we have some problems.
That's one of the reasons we have some problems.
I mean, yes, yeah. Let's not narrow down our problems simply to the fact that we might go a little hard on the sweets. There are several other things, but...
Yeah.
All right, I'm running out of bad jokes here. Somebody make a move.
Well, I can tell bad jokes if you want.
No, we don't need to bring your life story onto the stream. I don't think the viewers want to hear that.
No, those are actually really good. Those are really good jokes.
That's actually true. Based on some of the conversations we've had off stream, that's actually a fair point. Those would be some really good stories.
Those are good jokes.
All right, looks like we finally got something going on. All right, so Akuti is going to move into the dome, and it looks like skirmish. Excuse me. Yes, skirmish into the dome. Target Freyhill. Do absolutely no damage to her. That's okay. But it's time to flip over the deck.
Yes. That was a +0 on that, which meant that the last card in the deck was not Ekrit's ultimate, so it's fairly confident that it's in his hand. I would be very surprised if it wasn't, because I would have questions.
Yep, and if Kalibra has been paying close attention, then he would know that as well, so that might be something he needs to play around. And that's another tip, we talk about, people say, what can I do to get better? And we've talked about a couple of those things. Card counting definitely helps you in this game. Meanwhile, Akuti is going to play Charm. Okay, good idea. Akuti got crippled by several different status effects here. Removing the slow, I agree with that. Again, as we mentioned, mobility is the name of the game. Even with the disarm, still going to be able to destroy the minions, so she wants to regain that mobility. My expectation now is that she will move in and go to Influence Control Token 1. She is able to move now, move 3 and be within range 3 of that, so she can either attack or worship. I would assume it would be an attack, again, because her Illusion Token is adjacent to enemy minions.
Yes, and you heard it first from Commander, that the name of the game is Mobility. Don't let those giant words at the bottom of your screen that say Skytear confuse you.
Exactly. We would not want to get accused of false I had to think there for a second, like, wait. Oh, okay. Man, that's as bad. That's the kind of joke I would make. Oh boy.
I told you I had some bad jokes.
That's fair. Well, at least you did not lie to the people. We appreciate an honest person.
Ask and you shall receive.
Indeed.
Wait, you didn't ask, did you?
No, nobody asked. Not at all.
Oh, I asked.
That's fair. You'll be like one of those people in the YouTube comments. Nobody, colon. Nobody at all, colon. Carito, hey guys, I got a bad joke. Oh my god, Ryan, why? So, he's removed the slow, but okay, interesting. He's actually pinged Freyhill here. So, are we going to just attack Freyhill?
What is he pinging Freyhill for? But he has a move on the stack. What is he pinging Freyhill for with a move?
Ooh, but it doesn't matter. Okay,
Kalibra is casting a sinkhole.
Yeah, that makes sense. That was Kalibra's ping. Okay, so the sinkhole is going down, apparently targeting the hex that Freyhill is standing on. Sinkhole, of course, is now going to prevent Akuti, once again, poor Akuti not being able to move where she wants this turn, from being able to go over and directly influence lane 1. Of course, again, still able to resolve an attack action and delete one minion, or attempt to delete a minion, I guess. But that will at least force Akuti to stay in the dome.
Yes, and I believe that was actually him. The first ping was him saying that he had a response from Freyhill. He did another ping while you were talking there on Akuti, so I believe the hex that is being targeted is Akuti, or maybe it's the hex that he just pinged right there, or maybe he's saying that's the center. I don't know if that's the target hex or the center, but a sinkhole is being cast that's... A sinkhole is being cast that is preventing Akuti from getting where she wants to be. That's the important part.
Yes, okay, so we brought a coin onto the field. Apparently we need to flip to decide where we're going to place it.
I think that's marking the center.
Yes. Okay, so... Wait, what?
What?
What? Huh?
Oh,
okay, there we go. Okay, I was going to say, I was like, wait a minute, why are you putting the sinkhole there? Okay, that makes sense.
That makes a lot more sense. For like, wait a minute, that's a weird...
That does absolutely nothing at all to either hero.
Okay,
that
so
makes
put it right
sense.
there. So the center is Shafathi's illusion.
Okay, so Akuti is now stuck in the dome. We're going to drop that right there to remember that. Excellent, because otherwise I'm certain that I will forget. So that's going to force Akuti to stay in the dome, not necessarily even go into potentially lane 1. Well, I guess she couldn't because Ekrit's right there anyways. But that it will force Akuti to stay in the dome. And so let's see what the final plays from Mikhael are as a result of this.
So that was the move. We finally finished the move.
Hallelujah.
Nope, never mind. Now we finished the move.
Okay.
False alarm. Sinkhole is such a good card.
It really is. Like there are few cards that are gotcha cards as a sinkhole. Like, it's just so universally good. I wouldn't say it's as annoying as Skytier Drain, but it is definitely a very good card to have.
Oh, Skytier Drain isn't like a really, really powerful card. It's just so not fun and annoying.
Indeed. And that was honestly one of the big debates, because again, we said we're not going to talk about Skytier Drain, and here we are talking about Skytier Drain. But that was
I never said that.
That's true. Maybe I said that. That is a very fair point. Okay. Well, meanwhile, while we discuss Skytier Drain, Akuti did attempt to destroy a minion. However, due to the flip being a +0, only 1 damage, Takali gladly going to eat that 1 damage point to keep the minion alive. And as we mentioned, we have a Gathering Storm coming out. So that means that, Akuti will have all 3 mana. I'm sorry, no she won't. That's not... Gathering Storm draws 2 cards. I'm thinking of Mind Palace. So in that case, Mikhael just loading up his hand some more.
Yes. Akuti, if you want to talk about mana and 3 mana, Akuti has now used up all 3 of her mana.
Yes.
That's what you meant to say, right?
It is, yes. For some reason, I saw Gathering Storm, and I thought that it was Mind Palace. And I don't know why, because he doesn't even have Mind Palace anywhere in his deck.
That's your mind is probably in a palace, right? Ooh, a Doom from Shafathi targeting Astrida.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good. That is a really good play.
Yes.
Considering the Song of the Siren has not been seen yet.
So the advantages of Doom are not only can the target enemy hero not be healed, but you also place a card face up on that hero, which drains their mana, functionally speaking. So in this case, as we see, it is going to be the Underground Tunnels card, which is only 1 mana, but because this is round 3, that means that Astrida only gets 2 mana this turn, which means she cannot use Song of the Siren.
Yes, that is crucial, and that's one of those things where I'm sure Michael was fully aware that he had not seen Astrida's ultimate yet. And back to what you're talking about earlier about how to get better at the game, pay attention to the relevant cards. Always keep track of the ultimates and a few other cards also that are influential in certain games, like Sky Tear Drain, Sinkhole. Presence is usually a good one, and if you're in a blue mirror, always pay attention to the number of charms.
Yes, yeah, Charm is a very powerful card in the blue mirror matchup.
Yes, or if you are a blue deck and you're playing against somebody who may run charms.
That's also true as well. Yes. All right, so looks like Freyhill is going to be pinged and activated here. So Freyhill has exhausted all of her mana, so we'll see what she does here. My guess is potentially go and try to control lane 1, or she may just play for control of the dome here.
This is a very interesting game. I'm not sure who has the advantage right now or what victory conditions people are going for.
Yeah, I mean, normally by turn 3, you can, even if the game isn't necessarily over, you can at least see that one player is starting to build an advantage. But as you can see, each player has 1 control token pressed against their opponent's tower. Each of them has 1 token on the Sky Tier Master. As we mentioned, nobody's going to be killing this game. Now, I would say that Kalibra does have a slight edge due to the fact that he's done 2 towers, but it's not huge.
Yeah. And he has more minions over there, but his Takali's at 5.
Yeah, that's the other problem too. Takali is starting to get dangerously low. Now, of course, Takali being a blue-green hero, if there are Nourish cards in his hand, Kalibra can use those to heal Takali and allow her to absorb more damage.
Yes, and also other heroes like Freyal or Ishitosk, if they are near her, can use Sacrifice to heal her.
Yes. And it looks like
also, Michael just sent me a message complaining about how apparently we were too busy talking about donuts or something and missed the fact that they did not spawn their minions in lane 1.
Oops.
And we did not catch that for them.
We apologize for missing the lane minions and not calling out the players for not knowing how to play the game. That is entirely on us. We apologize for that. Also, shame on you, Mikhael. You should not be listening to the stream while you're playing.
I don't think he was listening to us. I think he messaged me saying, "Hey, you didn't catch this for us."
Oh, okay. I thought he was yelling us about the donuts. Okay.
No. I added that in.
Okay then. Okay, my apologies. In that case, Michael, I apologize. Please disregard my previous statement.
Now, that being said, we were talking about donuts, okay? Give us a break.
Yeah, seriously, they're donuts. Like, come on. Okay, on a serious note, we did see that Astrida has worshipped, and she has attacked a minion, so we are going to see more lane pressure here from Kalibra. Looks like Kalibra does commit now to lane 1, and I think that it is likely he's going for a Nexus Destruction victory here.
I'm going to respond to him and tell him we were talking about donuts.
Please do. I'll cover the commentary, mostly because this will probably take about 3 minutes for the next play. So, Astrida's minion spawning. So, as we notice here, Astrida had to spawn that minion where Control Zone 1 is placed at the start of the game. It is so far away at this point. Like, there is a whole party going on. We're gonna zoom in here just for a second and take a look at this huge party going on. This is like an entire family reunion going on over here in lane 1. We've got 4 heroes. We've got more minions than I care to count about. Lane 1 is just where it's at here, people.
Now, I just want to say, we don't recommend gatherings of this many people currently.
That's very true. We here at Sky Tier Castings do condone appropriate COVID-19 safety protocols, including washing your hands, wearing masks, and proper social distancing. As we can see, Ishitosk, Astrida not obeying social distancing. Shame on them. Kenwi, Astrida, also this is entirely Kenwi's fault, so double shame on her. Shafathi
and all of those minions.
Yeah, no good. This is not appropriate social distancing, people. Keep yourselves and your loved ones and everyone else safe. Do not do this.
Yes, that is a gathering of 13 minions or heroes in a very small space. Not okay.
That's no, very bad. All right. So oh my god, I love casting with you. This is always such a joyride.
Yeah, we have some content here that's almost as good as Tila, right?
I would say, argue in our own way, we bring something that can't be replicated. Which might be a good thing.
Also, I would like to mention, by the way, as we were talking about how no one really had an advantage here, I was starting to notice that Mikhael had no minions over there, and I was starting to wonder where all his minions went. But that was right as Mikhael was messaging me, so I did notice it, just not before you guys did.
Ah, nice save.
But yes, anyway, he does. I think Kalibra does have the slight advantage over on that side, but because of the huge minion advantage and the 2 tower damage, but the low HP Slakali makes things a little more difficult, as well as the fact that Mikhael has 2 extra cards in hand.
Indeed. So here's the thing to notice. Eckert's ult notwithstanding, Takali can't really be hit anymore this round. Except, well, I guess Shafathi could swap with his illusion and then potentially get to her. So Takali is actually not in a huge amount of danger at this point. So even though she's down to 5 hit points, especially if there's a Nourish card in Kalibra's hand, Takali is actually pretty safe just to hang out here in Control Zone 2 in the left lane and prevent significant amounts of tower destruction. Right now, as you can see, that's a 3-3 tie, and so no damage to the tower at all. So if Kalibra continues focusing over here on lane 1, he can completely sacrifice the dome here and potentially completely destroy this tower and get the control zone pressed up against the Nexus for a potential turn 4 Nexus destruction.
By the way, when I told Mikhael that we were talking about donuts, he said, makes sense.
Wow. I feel incredibly judged. Alright, meanwhile, Shafathi is going to go now. We see he has the active player token, and we see that Shafathi is going to start doing some cleanup. He did target a minion. So going to try and do his best to prevent Kalibra from just completely swarming and destroying the entirety of his tower. There it is, the Nourish that we were looking for. So the Nourish is going to be used to heal up Takali, increase her hit points by 3, and then able to absorb more damage from attacks to protect those minions.
I would like to mention something before, or elaborate on something I said before. I mentioned earlier that Freya or Ishitosk, if they could get close to Kali, could use a sacrifice to heal her. Freya does not have any mana left this turn, so she would not be able to, this turn at least.
That's true. The Mistress of Life, not able to give life. So at that point, I guess that makes her just a mistress. We here at SkyTier Streaming do not condone cheating on your partners either. We believe in healthy relationships with... Okay, no, we're getting off this train right now. Okay, so moving on. Before this gets weird...
Yeah, let's not go down that rabbit hole. We already talked about we didn't want people... We didn't want to do the jokes about my life.
That's very... Oh, now we all just feel sad. All right, get your F's in chat and in the comments for poor Ryan here. Unlucky. All right, so with that being said, Takali did...
With that being said...
Hey, listen, sometimes you don't have a good segue and you just gotta go right on to the next topic, man. That's how it is. Sorry. I tried to smooth it out, but sometimes you just gotta cut from one point and go right to the next. That's how it is.
Oh man. Okay, so attack in a skirmish by Shafathi. Shafathi attacks the minion, kills the minion, and then skirmishes into a Shrita for 0 damage.
Okay.
And then swaps with the illusion to go into the dome.
Alright, so now that brings 2 heroes for Mikhael into the dome. Lead from the hand, from the deck, and that will be the end for Shafathi. So overall, pretty good play. Again, as we said earlier for Kalibra, I think at this point you just kind of ignore the dome and you focus on that Nexus victory condition.
Do you think Mikhael did that play with Ekrit before to specifically have that illusion in that spot for the Eye of the Storm this turn?
That is a possibility. I mean, it's good placement, right? You can get 2 minions, and only one of those can be protected by Tilakali. So that could be possible. It could be the case that we were 200 IQ'd by Mikhael, and we're not thinking ahead. So, professional tip number 3 from the streamers. Don't be afraid to think ahead from the turns. You don't always have to go on a turn-by-turn basis. If you know you're not immediately going to lose the game, always a good thing to think ahead. I remember one time Ricardo mentioned that he intentionally let his opponent push down his tower. That is, he just sacrificed it to gain his advantage elsewhere. Tower hit points are a resource in this game, just like your mana, just like your lead values, just like your hero's HP. So it could be the case that Mikhael is in fact going for the long play here, and that he was setting up for an Eye of the Storm turn play during turn 3.
I have one question about that game you were referencing.
Yes.
Did Ricardo manage to win through Nexus Destruction?
I remember that was the really wild game where, if you remember, Zakol was I think it was Nexus Destruction.
Is this the one where he cheated? Or was this the other one where he cheated?
That one, no. That was the one where they forgot that a destroyed tower can be stepped on.
Yeah.
And so, I forget who it was. It might have been Kenwi, which, again, goes to show how useless she is, that she doesn't even know how to move properly. But she got punted out of the way, or it might have been Ekrit, I forget. But somebody got punted out of the way, and then Zakol moved in.
It was Zakol attacked Kenwi, the attack pushed Kenwi away, and then Kenwi moved back.
Except Zakol moved in first
but
to prevent the
Zakol
move in.
dodged to prevent the move back.
Yeah.
But
God, Kenwi is useless.
First of all, I think at the time that attack and moving interaction should have actually worked a different way. Now that's the correct way. And then also, there was a whole other hex that Kenwi could have moved into that they completely weren't aware of.
That is true, yes, because at that point, as we mentioned, Ricardo's tower was totally destroyed, which does make that a valid hex that you can move into, but both players had forgotten about that, which, it happens. We forget the rules. We would think that the devs would remember the rules of their own games, but they're humans too. Personally, I think that we should blame Yakumo for not reminding his brother about the rules and making sure that, he's on top of everything, but, we can't always get what we want, right?
Exactly, and also, actually, to clarify that, so what happened there was Zakol pushed Kenwi, then Kenwi moved back. The way the interaction works now is they both go on the stack at the same time, because Zakol was the active player. Kenwi's move would actually happen before the push. So if anyone is confused about how that rule works, that is how that works, and if you did not follow that at all, then...
it's hard. It was hard enough to follow live stream, so I get the fact that we're like half-baked reminiscing about it and not showing them a diagram at all about the situation makes it nearly impossible to follow. However, if you did follow, congratulations, you earned the commander's thumbs up for the day. Ryan already gave his out from an earlier play, but I can still give mine, so I give that to you, dear viewer.
Actually, mine was not for a play, but just for the fact that neither player brought Sky Territory.
Which technically could be a play in of itself. The play that wasn't actually... You know what? All right, that's going down a rabbit hole I don't want to go down to. Do we have anything interesting on the field going on?
No. Kalibra did a lead, move, and attack with somebody. Tlakali looks like their presence, and then led from deck, and then moved and attacked a minion.
Okay, good enough to know. So, with that being said... as we mentioned, Takali feels pretty safe at this point with 8 hit points. Shafathi having already gone means that she's not going to be dying. So with this lead here, that is going to allow Takali significant pressure here in Control Zone 2. Not enough to send the token all the way at the end, but oh, wait a minute now. Here we go.
Ekrit moved and is casting a presence, and that is a very interesting line for that that Ekrit right now.
Yeah, so as we can see here, I don't know if I can draw a line. Nope, can't. Nope, can't draw a line because I'm in gray spectator mode. But we see that her token is positioned right there, which is also where a pillar is, which is also where the minion is. So currently, her illusion hits right there, 2 minions and Astrida, because as we mentioned, Astrida and Ekrit not on the same team.
Yes. And Kenwi, as also Acuity and Ekrit are on the same team, which we went through before.
That being said, it is Kenwi, so at this point, I would totally not fault Ekrit if she just said whoops and accidentally shot Kenwi as well.
Yeah, I mean, she might take some extra damage too because she's on top of that pedestal.
You know, sometimes collateral damage happens. It's for the greater good.
Yeah.
I also... Oh, go ahead.
I was saying I'm really tempted to tint those heroes.
Yes, that's the one thing that like is getting me, because I almost always play with tinted heroes so that I can tell, because as we saw earlier, when they're not tinted, I mix up who's on whose team, despite the fact that one player is playing mono yellow and the other is playing blue green. So you would think that that's not actually an issue, but unfortunately for me it is. All right, meanwhile, we had a lead action, and there goes the line attack. Oh, all right, there we go. Instant yellow tinting. Perfect. Wonderful.
I did that. You're welcome.
I love you. Thank you. All right, so line attack coming down. I'm lying. I don't really love you. Sorry. So there we go. The line attack, big value off this line attack here. Let's see. Both of those minions are adjacent to pillars here, so let's see if Takali chooses to save any of them.
I believe this is 3 damage, right? So she could take 3 or 6. 3 to protect one, 6 to protect both, and that would drop her to either 5 or 2, or stay right at 8 if she wants to let them both die.
I would argue, honestly, again, because Kenwi can't get to her, yeah, just take all both the attacks, and as you can see, she is down to 2. Yeah.
And sadly, sadly from your perspective at least, Kenwi did not take any damage.
It's true. The only good Kenwi, as we've mentioned before, is a dead Kenwi, which I have at least 3 jokes ready to go. But the problem is we never get to see a dead Kenwi, because anytime Kenwi shows up, it's almost always in a control match from both players. And so not very much damage, but I am just waiting for the day when Kenwi dies, because, oh my god, are we going to have a field day.
You should watch some of my games against Mikhael. I will send Frail right next to her and kill her with all of the revenge in the world. I have killed her. I have definitely killed her at least a couple times, and I'm sure you would enjoy watching.
If I hadn't already given out my thumbs up to the viewers, I would definitely give it out to you just for that.
Well, I'll take the consolation thumbs up.
Alright, meanwhile, Freyhill is going to make a move here. Now, as you mentioned earlier, Ryan, she has used all of her mana, so we aren't going to see any spell-slinging shenanigans from her. That being said, she is going to move over here. And, oh, so Kalibra... Interestingly enough here, Kalibra is going to attempt to go for an overload play on this dome here, so that's going to kill off the minion. With this being done here, Takali, if we lead from the deck, if that is a 3... that would be 5, 6, 7 to 1. So that's going to be 6, which actually is enough to get that control token against the other Nexus, which means if there is no response from Mikhael, and if Kalibra can win Control Zone 1, which based on the setup it looks like he can, that could indeed end up as an invasion victory.
Yeah, so, yeah, and Henry's gonna have to find a way to get over there.
She has to time warp. Actually, no, not even with time warp. She can't even make it. Time warp, at best, puts her 4 away. I think that he has to stop controls. Actually, I don't think he can stop her. I think at this point, I think Kalibra has set it up to the point where he wins.
Is there a way... And Ekrit used Presence, so we're not going to see Eye of the Storm either.
Right, that's what I was thinking. You could potentially blast some of the minions with Eye of the Storm, but Ekrit doesn't have the mana for that anymore.
The only thing I could think of is that Gathering Storm that he used was after he shuffled his deck, and he has an Echo Dance.
Yes, so Echo Dance, you could... Let's see. Yeah, you could, I guess, move Akuti in line with hers. That would give you just enough to prevent the control token from hitting the tower. That
so you can move the illusions 3 first and then put them in line of sight. So Kenui would also be able to get over it.
Yes, you would. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Based on where Kenwi's illusion is, you would be able to do that as well. So yeah, so that is a possibility as well. So if Echo Dance does not come out, then I think that Kalibra wins this by invasion. I don't want to call it too early. I've done that before and then had to take my words back, but this is actually a very strong position. You know, we said at the start of the round, it wasn't very clear that either player had a huge advantage. We said that Kalibra had a small advantage from the tower damage. Based on the play that we've seen this round, I would say Kalibra is in a very good position.
Yeah, I guess the other thing is, I don't know what he could have, but if there's any way for Kenui to somehow not make it so he doesn't lose lane 1. I don't know how he would do that, but...
Right, yeah, that as you mentioned, I think Echo Dance is the only way to stop that. Because
he does have a presence. Yeah. He does have a presence over there with Ekrit right now. He could theoretically use like a chasm or something to push Astrida out of line of sight and to kill a minion, but I don't think that's going to be even close to enough because
because
Ishitas can still attack a minion and lead too.
Right, and the thing too is, Kalibra doesn't even need to win lane 1. He just needs to tie lane 1. And as we can see, there is a bunch of minions. We've seen that the family gathering has kind of dwindled. A couple people have left now, but there is still inappropriately close, not following social distancing going on in Control Zone 1. So I think the only thing that can be done here is an Echo Dance to stop Control Zone 2 from flying the entire way across the deck. But let's see what happens. I could be wrong. There could be something that I'm missing here. Alright, so the minion is being attacked by Ekrit. There's 0 chance that Takali protects that minion because that would guarantee her death. And Takali is much more valuable alive, so that minion is gone.
Yep, that would have been one way to do it if Takali died right there.
I mean, at that point, then Kalibra. That's where you kind of spam the question mark thing at Kalibra.
There is another way.
Okay.
Another way. If he got Shafathi's ultimate off of Gathering Storm. Oh no, never mind. He doesn't have the mana. Never mind.
Yep, Shafathi used that Doom to ensure that Song of the Siren does not go off, and thus, while Astrida couldn't use her ultimate, that also means Shafathi can't either.
Yeah, I'm looking through the deck right now to see if there's anything.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't think
Wind Blast.
I don't think Wind Blast kills enough minions. Wind Blast would not do enough because again, remember, Kalibra only needs to tie, and with Astrida leading, that's good enough. There are no minions left for Mikhael on lane 1 or on Control Zone 1. So as a result, Echo Dance preventing the lane 2 push, I think, is the only thing that does it.
Well, there's Echo Dance.
All right. Okay, so in that case, unless I'm missing something, I think at this point that Kalibra will close the game with a invasion victory. Now, I could be wrong. Let's see what happens.
Now, a Wind Blast would clear 3 minions, and he does have a presence in the lead. Yeah, that's not even going to be enough yet.
Nope, yeah. Kenwi has exhausted, which means that she's done. And so now we just want to see what Ishitaska is going to do. I would assume... Oh, by the way, I lied earlier. There is 1 minion left for Mikhael in lane 1. It is adjacent to Ishatosk, so I assume that Ishatosk will probably kill it. Yep, there's the ping for the attack. And there's the attack notification, so that minion is dead.
So there is actually theoretically one way to come back from this. I don't know exactly what it would be, but if Ishatosk uses a very good card that can contribute somehow, Mikhael can potentially use Refract and use said card to do something. I would have to then go through and figure out what cards that could be that he could refract that would be useful, but refract is a thing that could do something.
I mean, I'm looking at what he's brought here, and none of those look particularly interesting. I mean, I guess a chasm or a sinkhole, but I don't see why you would play that as Kalibra. There just doesn't seem to be any reason to do so.
Especially since Eckert's illusion is there, so
correct.
Mikhael's illusions heroes can't even be moved.
Yep. All right. So we see the attack, the worship, and the lead.
Well, so there is one. No, I don't think there's anything that could be done there. But invasion doesn't trigger until the end of the turn, so Mikhael will get to activate the outsider first. But I don't think there's anything he can do with the outsider.
Right. Yeah. The outside, because the control zones will already be pressed against the tower, and there's no way you're getting a double kill. There's no possible way to do that. You would only have 2 Sky Tier Master points. Ooh, a lot of high leads though coming from Mikhael here. So let's do some maths. But I think at this point,
one of those was the 3 from the presence.
Yes, you're right. That is true. So we do have that there. But that being said, Control Zone 1 not going anywhere.
Oh,
Song of the Siren. Okay, so Song of the Siren.
From the deck.
Yep. Okay. Control Zone is now pressed against, which means all we have to do is wait for the end of the turn.
It looks like they're calling it.
Yeah, because Knight of the Terror of the Endless Night cannot win the game in any conceivable way, shape, or form. So at this point, Mikhael, I think, and Kalibra both recognize this will be victory for Kalibra by invasion. GG, well played.
Yeah. And Mikhael showed his hand. He did have Eye of the Storm, Dismiss, and 2 Time Warps in his hand. And Kalibra had a Nourish and Safeguard. Yeah, but this goes back to what we were saying about round 2. If he had killed if he had taken the Dome round 2, then that would have gone off before Invasion did, and he would have won.
Indeed.
So that'll be something to bring up when we talk to the players.
Yep, and speaking of which, let's, I think, go ahead and join them now. Hear their thoughts on the game.
Let's.
You guys are coming. So close.
Hello.
GG, gentlemen.
Hello there. Thanks.
Hey guys.
Hello there.
How's it going? That was a fun game right there, looked like.
It was very nice.
I hope you guys had as much fun as we did.
Well, we did actually, right, Mike?
Yeah. It was quite enjoyable.
We had a
That's
great
good.
discussion
Always
about donuts.
Always good to have fun while playing Skytear.
Yes.
yeah. Yes. The only reason for playing Skytear is fun, man. So
That's true.
We did it. It was done. So yes, like when you have this much fun and you play with the opponents that you colleague that you enjoy playing with, like Mikhael, it's like a win-win. There's no loser.
Yeah, absolutely. I never thought once that I would be stymied by a safeguard.
Yes. Safeguard is back to meta because nobody uses it anymore. So you cannot predict.
Yeah, I mean the fact that nobody uses it is what makes it good.
Yeah.
Because nobody expects it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I played like one game with this deck against a friend, Julio, and he was really not expecting Safeguard. And I remember like the beginning-ish of Skytear when I began playing it. Like Ishato's classic move was just to come here, lead, and move skirmish and lead, and then you would protect your minions with Safeguard. So I thought, okay, let's do it again. Let's try.
Yeah, that was cool to watch. So
Go ahead.
I think the move that confused us the most in this game that we were talking about a lot was Egret's move to here. That when you then attacked through there,
Mm-hmm.
you moved her into a location where she wasn't contributing to any zone.
You are correct.
What was the reasoning for that?
The reasoning for that was because I had a couple of time warps that I could utilize if I needed to at the last second. Like over here, it might have contributed a little bit. It didn't. I ended up not doing it, and it turned out to. Well, it didn't cost me the game really, but I also figured I could move Akuti into the dome, and then I looked at Akuti's mana, and she had already spent it, and I was like, "Oh, I made a mistake."
Oops.
And then I moved. I was like, "Oh, I know. I'll move Ekrit over here. I'll attack here, push Astrida out of the way, and then I'll Ekrit ultimate." And then, I played Presence. Yep, no, I fucked up.
Yeah.
So-
Pro tip: keep track of your mana.
Yes, that is our streamer pro tip number. What are we on? 5? Who cares? Oh well.
You guys went through 5 pro tips
I know we were on
You gave us-
fire.
off of my mistakes.
No. No, just no. Just in general, we were talking about good points for new players, not your mistakes. If we
Good
did that,
points
we
for
would.
new players. Don't play like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also,
Everyone just wants to be like Mike.
another good point. Don't play Kenwi. Only people who have no
No,
self-respect
come
for
on.
themselves don't play Kenwi. Only players who don't have any
Maybe
self-respect.
in this.
One point I made sure to mention several times was the fact that I appreciated the fact that neither of you guys brought Sky Tear Drain.
Yes, he was very happy that this was a drain-free game.
Well, I certainly prepared for it, and it ended
Yes.
up actually biting me in the butt.
That's the thing.
Because while I had
Mhm.
all the options, I had nothing to do.
When I was talking with you before the game, you were telling me about your deck structure and your strategy, and you're like, yeah, I've got this plan and this plan and this plan for Sky Tier Drain, and I'm sitting there thinking, I want to tell you so badly that you don't have to worry about Drain at all, but I can't do that. That wouldn't be right.
Plus, let's be real. If you did say that, Michael, if Commander told that to you, would you have believed him?
Of course I would have.
See, some of us are trustworthy.
Oh.
If you had told me, I wouldn't have believed you.
See?
Now, Michael, one thing you could have done was, instead of moving Ekrit here, you could have moved her here. You still could have time warped into this lane, and you could have hit the same number of minions through this way.
Yes, but there's one critical error with moving into that area.
Mm-hmm.
Ekrit doesn't have line of sight of her illusion anymore.
You're
that's-
right. That is a good point that, we didn't consider.
That is
is-
true, but then you still had that time warp, so you could have just moved back in if you did get pushed out.
I mean, these are why the reasons like this are why you don't play like me.
Jeez. Weren't you two partners in the 2v2 league?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we
I was
no,
gonna
no.
say.
We played the very first 2v2. We played the very first 2v2, and
okay.
we lost on the same reasons that I lost today. Don't play like me, guys.
I was gonna say. I thought for some reason I thought you two were the 2v2 partners. I'm like, wow. How did things deteriorate that badly?
We have a very unique relationship.
Some would call it a hate relationship.
No. It's a love-hate relationship.
Oh, okay.
We
Oh,
both love to hate on me.
That's fair. That's fair.
I like how we were both going there too. There was another move. Oh yeah, one thing we were also talking about during the game was we felt. So we really actually, when you did it, we were questioning it, but talking about it later, we actually really liked it. And that was when you gave Ekrit Frenzy instead of giving the two heroes here slow. Because we figured now you can just leave Ekrit in the dome and just push basically anybody out of the dome, and really makes it difficult for him to take the dome away from you. You can just leverage that to win Skytier Master turn 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
And so we thought that was really cool.
And then
you
I
left the dome.
didn't.
And then you left the dome.
Then I didn't.
We're like, hey, he's got a great play. But wait, where is he going? No, Michael, come back. No, okay, all right, well, okay then.
There was comments I was going to mention about some of Kalibra's plays. I don't remember.
Kalibra's play was superior in the fact that he didn't bring Kenway. We can start from that. We can start from that.
It's superior, but not memorable, right? So we want memorable moment. Moment.
That's the trick here, Kalibra. The trick is to make your plays so bad they're memorable.
Yes. It's all about like history, making history. You know, you don't have to.
Listen, it could have been worse. It could have been worse.
Oh, I remember what it was. Kalibra, turn 1.
Oh my god.
Turn 1, Kalibra. You did a lead from hand with the Strida when you were already winning this lane by a lot.
He was worried about a flux into time warp into taking that lane from him.
That's
true.
the one thing we were talking about. We were talking about worship, but then we were thinking, well, maybe you're worried about a time warp. But I think even in that situation, you probably could have gone from deck instead of from hand.
It would have tied. It would have tied the lane.
What did it have?
You're right. I could have saved the 3 mana card in my hand. That's true.
Yeah.
But I didn't consider that because, you know, like I have this like programming in my head. Okay, I have 2 3 mana cards in my hand. I'm gonna lead with both, and then done. I cannot think about anything else after making this decision. So it was stupid, but it worked. So it's fine.
I mean, it's perfectly valid. And as the math that Michael just said was, if you had done that, apparently it would have been a tie. So apparently that you know not.
No, I really needed to push the right lane to be able to spawn this much minions and force him to go there as it happened to win by invasion.
It was the smart play, and I appreciated that he was able to just recklessly lead from the hand and not worry about his hand size.
So you're saying that you should have brought Skycharge Drain?
I'm saying that I should have brought green.
Okay. Safeguard. Always bring safeguard.
Safeguard.
Beautiful card.
Yeah. Hey, listen, make Safeguard great again.
Yes.
Oh, it already is. Didn't you just watch the game? It stymied a soul scream. RG Commander. A soul.
That is
Do you
very
know what
true.
the only other you know the only other card that's better at sweeping a minions away is Wind Blast.
Yes.
Wind Blast, and that. It wasn't just Soul Scream. It was Soul Scream off the back of a Flux, and that just felt so much worse.
It hurts. It hurts. I'm sorry, man.
To respond to your question of did I just watch the game, the answer is yes, but I didn't know what's going on half the time. If you go back and watch the video, you'll see, I think it was in round 2, where, it was in round 2 because you had the Frenzy on Ekrit, and I spent like a minute talking about this great setup play on with Akuti and Ekrit and pushing, and Ryan graciously lets me finish and then just goes, there's just one small problem with your plan, which is that those 2 heroes are on the same team. And then I'm just like, everyone please ignore what I just said the last 45 seconds.
Yep. And then there was we were talking about how we thought we were pretty confident they would Eye of the Storm in hand, and we were talking about how the AoE on Eye of the Storm was a donut shape, and then we spent the next like 5 minutes talking about donuts.
That was good.
I was trying to figure out where that line of that train of thought came from.
We got completely derailed. Like when you guys needed a little bit of time to plan out and think about your next move, we went so far off the topic rails. I'm surprised we didn't get yelled at.
Oh yeah, especially turn 3. Like there were some great conversations. I highly recommend you listen to the commentary. It was very, very high quality.
You won't get much
Were
analysis.
there people
at that
watching?
point. I think there were about 5 or 6 watching for most of the game.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry you had to witness that. It was so bad. Don't play like me.
I know for a fact that Tapeworm saw it because he had some feedback about Commander's streaming.
Uh-oh. Why didn't he send it to me?
He sent it 3 minutes ago in the streaming channel.
Oh, there we go.
Anyway.
Okay, gotcha.
Anyway, I have my own Clash game to get to, so I should probably get doing that as my opponent has been waiting a little while.
All right, go for it.
But thank you guys very much for the great time, especially you, Commander. I enjoyed that. No,
Yeah,
you guys,
this
all of you
was a
guys.
blast. Yeah, thank you very much for the game, for both of you. Good game to both of you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And congrats on the win, Kalibra. And welcome back
Thanks,
to
man.
the Skytear scene.
Thank you. Finally.
All right, see you guys.
Yeah,
See
bye-bye.
ya.
All right, well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. This has been the Commander. I'll see you during the next tour of duty. Until then, everyone, don't play Can We. Have a good night.